We will now begin with the march of the Culture Club Parade. Please stand for the playing of the national anthem. Remain standing for the national pledge.
For God and all mankind, I pledge the love and loyalty of my heart, the wisdom and courage of my mind, the strength and vigor of my body, in the service of my fellow citizens. I promise to stand up for justice, brotherhood, and peace, to work diligently and creatively, to think generously and honestly, so that Jamaica may, under God, increase in beauty, fellowship, and prosperity, and play her part in advance in the welfare of the whole human race.
Thank you. You may be seated. Madam Guest Speaker, Ms. Danielle Archer, Acting Executive Director, Jamaica Cultural Development Commission, Mrs. Marjorie Curtin, Programs Coordinator, Jamaica National Commission for UNESCO, Dr. Maria Smith, Senior Education Officer, Ministry of Education, Youth and Information, Mr. Marlon Williams, JCDC Eastern Region Culture Club patrons and festival queens, Miss Ashagay Mullins, Miss St. Thomas, Miss Tamoy Campbell, Miss Kingston and St. Andrew, Miss Kemoy Perry, Miss St. Catherine, JCDC Eastern Region Culture Club Parish Association chairs, Miss Tanisha Gordon, Miss St. Thomas, sorry, that's St. Thomas, Miss Myrna Lee Holmes, Kingston and St. Andrew, and Miss Tasmanico Beckford, Miss St. Catherine. Please excuse me, I'm dealing with the queens and I'm dealing with the chairs. Eastern Region Culture Club coordinators, teacher coordinators, executive members, with the queens come very powerful winds. All right, so we are, you need to station this, or it's okay. All right, I'll continue. Eastern Region Culture Club teacher coordinators, executive and members, cultural agents, performers from the JCDC Performing Arts Festival, speech, music, and dance. We have a few to perform later for us today. Members of the uniform group, Dunoon Technical High School Cadet Corps, always with us. Technical support, sound, light, camera, streamer, and all the other technicals. The hardworking staff of my region, parish managers, cultural organizers, administrators, records officers, office attendant, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, good afternoon. For a moment, I almost said good morning, because this is the first time since we have been staging these consultations that we are having the staging in the afternoon and not the morning. But nonetheless, we know that the pandemic has caused us to change the way we do things. And so we tweak and continue to tweak as we try to get the best of this situation. The Jamaica Cultural Development Commission, an agency of the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment, and Sports, recognizing the importance of preserving the Jamaican culture and heritage, seek to do so through the establishment of culture clubs in schools and other community-based organizations across the island. The aim is to focus on the young people through whom their customs and traditions can channel and be preserved. The establishment of culture clubs actively engage the young people in a number of activities to include Jamaica Day night celebration, Heritage Week celebration, Emancipation and Independence Day celebration, the staging of civic functions in schools and community clubs, flag raising ceremonies, community projects, to name a few. The Culture Club program develops patriotism through its members' allegiance to country, through its attention to the club's national map, the national motto, the national anthem, and the national pledge, being present at each meeting of the club. A part of the structure of the Culture Club program is the hosting of a regional Culture Club consultation, which will seek to highlight major achievements of the parish clubs and make regional awards to clubs and individual members, deliver speech, special parish or regional reports, present, display, exhibitions and achievements, project research, host a major presentation by a special guest speaker, and we have a very special one this afternoon, and serve as fellowship among Culture Club members. Of course, as I mentioned before, the pandemic has caused us not to be able to meet fully in the physical form, but nonetheless, we can have fellowship via the virtual platform nonetheless. In just 9 months, August 6, 2022, Jamaica will officially celebrate its 60th anniversary of independence. Most, if not all of us in this gathering are post-independence Jamaicans. Most, if not all of us, have a vision of Jamaica under God with increased beauty, fellowship, and prosperity. We call that vision 2030. Jamaica, the place of choice to live, work, raise families, and do business. This year's theme, vision of our future, a cultural perspective. That should be, hence this year's theme, a vision of our future, a cultural perspective. Today, we want to put into perspective some of our cultural practices and subcultures, especially those that threaten us crossing over into the new day, a new Jamaica, a land of peace and love. And I therefore want to not only welcome you, but declare these sessions of the 2021 JCDC Eastern Region Club consultation officially open, and trust you will find the day's activity informative, stimulating, and entertaining. Please put your hands together as I officially declare the sessions open. And not to worry, we will have some balloon drops later on. It's still open. Put your hands together. At this time, I would like to invite the acting chairman, the acting executive director of the Jamaica Cultural Development Commission, Mrs. Marjorie Curtin, to bring remarks on behalf of the JCDC.
Thank you so much, Mr. Reed, moderator, and he's the regional manager for Eastern Region. Dr. Maria Smith, program coordinator for the Jamaica National Commission, a part of our UNESCO partnership. Mr. Marlon Williams, Senior Education Officer at the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information, partners again with the Culture Club program. Our special guest presenter today, Ms. Danielle Archer. She will be our keynote speaker, and I'm seeing in my notes that she's an attorney at law, so you know she knows what she'll be talking about. Our festival queens, Miss Asha Gay Mullins for St. Thomas, Miss Tamoy Campbell for Kingston and St. Andrew, Miss Kemoy, no, one is Tamoy Campbell and one is Kemoy Perry, which is Miss St. Catherine. We also recognize the chairpersons for each of our parish culture club associations. For Kingston, Miss Holmes. For St. Thomas, I hope I got it right, Miss Gordon. And for St. Catherine, Miss Beckford. All our culture club coordinators across the Eastern region, or president, student presidents of each club, or various club members, the JCDC team that is pulling our consultation together, led by Mr. Reed and our parish managers, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, those who are live with us in our small group, and all those who are on Zoom. Good afternoon. Indeed, it is a delight on behalf of the Jamaica Cultural Development Commission to bring special remarks this afternoon as we move into our Eastern Region Culture Club's consultation for 2021 with an exciting theme, vision of our future, a cultural perspective. And I greet you on behalf of the chairman of the board, Ms. Maxine Bisesa, and the management team at the JCDC. It has been a special time since March 2020, when Jamaica and the rest of the world was faced with coronavirus pandemic. This has caused all nations to be operating in a different mode. Jamaica, we cannot escape. And at the JCDC, we've looked at all that we can do to move from our usual manual ways of operating to the online, the various online and digitized platforms so we can be a part of the world. Today, as you gather and you consult around the theme, vision of our future, I want you to think seriously, go deep, and help the JCDC to be able to deliver strategies so that we can move our culture clubs into the present sphere of online business. There are going to be a lot of changes. You have seen them. It's a year and almost 9 months, right? From March to now. And we have to say, I know you have been making efforts to ensure that you continue to meet and to work with your clubs and to keep the momentum going. That is to be commended. I want to thank the coordinators who continue to work with JCDC to ensure that the Culture Club program continues despite the challenges of the pandemic. We want to thank also the network that has been created in each parish and with the leadership that I'm seeing through our chairpersons who continue to ensure that we can have our club members engaged and not lose them along the way through the challenges of the pandemic. We are looking for exciting recommendations to come out of this consultation. We want to know what you think the culture perspective is going to be like in the future. How you believe we're going to be able to function effectively on these new platforms that don't allow us to be as close as we are used to, but in the sphere of being on Zooms and the different platforms to be able to still have the human touch. Because by nature, all people love that touch and feel and to be within a special group. And when you're on these platforms, we know it can be challenging. So I'm looking forward, as I said, for the recommendations that will come from the session that will help to guide us and to help us to build our future in terms of our culture. I anticipate that you're going to have a special session with our guest speaker. I want you to engage. I want you to ensure that we can get the best out of this deliberation. And as you go through the day, the rest of the afternoon, I invite you to think about what the objectives are for your culture club so that you can ensure you garner all the information that can help you to achieve those objectives. I wish you the best, and may God continue to bless us as a people and as a nation. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Acting Executive Director, Jamaica Cultural Development Commission. Please put your hands together for her once more. Dr. Maria Smith and Mr. Marlon Williams couldn't be here in person, but nonetheless, we will have their greetings. And so at this time, we'll take recorded greetings from Dr. Maria Smith and Mr. Williams. Dr. Maria Smith, of course, is the programs coordinator for the Jamaica National Commission for UNESCO. And Mr. Marlon Williams is the Senior Education Officer in the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information.
Acting Executive Director, Mrs. Marjorie Curtin. Senior Education Officer, Mr. Marlon Williams, Ministry of Education, Youth and Information. Regional Manager, JCDC, Mr. David Reed. JCDC Eastern Regional Culture Clubs, greetings. This year, UNESCO is celebrating 75 years, and the Jamaica National Commission for UNESCO is celebrating 55 years. The partnership between JNC UNESCO and JCDC is about 5 years. I am delighted to be the person bringing you greetings today because I spent many years working at the JCDC and I have many friends in the organization. Today, I want us to be reminded of 3 of the main functions of the club: training, dissemination of information, and action. The training can take many forms: the performing arts, learning about the human rights, sports, and other skills. Dissemination of information: we share information to become more aware of national and world activities and concerns, example COVID. We must use factual data to understand and manage social and health problems. Action: the clubs have a vast number of activities from which they can select: dance, music, drama, having lectures, debates, historical trips, and much more. Building partnerships is vital to UNESCO's work. Together, we can build a solid partnership because we share the same ideals. JCDC is the institution most responsible for cultural development in Jamaica. And UNESCO is the organization that represents the United Nations body with the responsibility for culture. JNC, UNESCO cannot achieve its objectives alone. Hence, we are fortunate to have partners that are willing to be involved in supporting UNESCO's priorities. When partners combine their competencies and resources around set goals, much can be achieved. Let us try harder to do more to maximize the use of this valuable platform for community outreach and capacity building, especially as we embrace and celebrate Jamaica's rich cultural heritage.
The COVID-19 pandemic has placed us, especially our students, at a great disadvantage with learning loss, inability to socialize, to name a few. As culture club coordinators, you play a critical role in bridging the gap or filling that void that has been created. With the face-to-face reopening of school, the culture clubs will have to be that medium through which the students will have to be given the opportunity to express themselves and channel those pent-up energies and creativity. As culture club coordinators, if you look at the relationship or the rapport that you have with the students and compare that relationship that those same students have with other teachers, you will realize that you share a great bond. It therefore means that you have the greatest opportunity to share and just to mold their lives and help them to become what they ought to become. as the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information focuses on character education and the establishment of curriculum implementation teams in schools, you are relied upon to help lead the charge in ensuring that these initiatives are implemented. You are the ones who will have to ensure that your colleagues are focusing on teaching those positive values and attitudes which are embedded in our culture, which seem to be eroding as a result of the negative influences in our society. You are the ones who will have to ensure that our students return to those days when common courtesies were the order of the day, when kind words were always expressed and persons were not referred to using derogatory terms, those days when we would share with our neighbors, those days when we would show respect for authority. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information, I greet you well, and I want to say to you that you are lauded and appreciated for the work that you have been doing in ensuring that the retention of our culture remains center stage. For the work that you have been doing in ensuring that the retention of our culture remains center stage.
Thank you, Dr. Maria Smith and Mr. Marlon Williams. Please put your hands together for them. We will close out the opening session with a patriotic song, My Heart, Pledge My Heart Forever, after which we will go into the keynote address and general discussion session, which will be led by our Miss St. Thomas Festival Queen, Miss Ashagi Mullins. So we will have you stand for the playing of the patriotic song, I Pledge My Heart Forever, and after which you will hear from Miss Ashagi Mullins.
Thank you, everyone. You may be seated. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Ashige Mullins, Miss St. Thomas Festival Queen, and it is a pleasure to be here this afternoon. I must say it's not good to give disclaimers because as a queen, you should be ready at all times. But hosting is kind of out of my comfort zone. I'm a media personality, but I'm on the writing and the producing end. So today I'm just out of my comfort zone. But however, I'm happy to be here because it's about culture And culture is something that I am passionate about, hence why I decided to enter the Festival Queen competition. All right, so we just want to thank Mr. Reed, JCDC Eastern Regional Manager, and I trust that you all enjoyed the opening ceremony. The Jamaica Cultural Development Commission, JCDC, is an agency of the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment, and Sports that recognizes the importance of preserving the Jamaican culture. A feature of the regional consultation is having keynote address and general discussions. Today, we have invited an eminent Jamaican woman to give a thoughtful presentation that will evoke emotions on addressing the theme, vision of our future from a cultural perspective. But before we get into the keynote, I want to find out if the students were really listening to Dr. Maria's speech. So she highlighted 3 functions of the Culture Club, and I scribbled them down. And I want 3 bright students to quickly tell me the functions of the Culture Club. 3 functions of the Culture Club. Anybody? Yes, from the perspective of UNESCO. Anybody? All right, so in the interest of time, from the perspective of UNESCO, the first one is training, second one, dissemination of information, and the third one is action. So to introduce our keynote speaker, we will be inviting our Razzle-Dazzle Queen, Ms. Tamoy Campbell.
Thank you so much, Asha Gay. Good afternoon, everyone. It is my pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker. It's a little special for me because she's literally living my dream. She does media, she's an attorney, and I listen to her on Nationwide a lot, so it's kind of really sentimental right now. And that's Miss Danielle Archer. I feel that above all else, my duty and purpose is to make the rock that I live on a better place for others. It's a direct quote from our keynote speaker, Miss Danielle Archer. It is with immense pleasure that I introduce our speaker, Miss Danielle Archer. Now, Danielle, as she prefers to go by, is an attorney at law, media practitioner, and educator. So she is a Jill of all trades. A proud product of a single-parent household, she's grateful for her mother and her uncle who raised her. She owes much of whom she is rather to the Holy Childhood High School, where she was a former head girl during her time. This month makes 16 years that she has been practicing law in Jamaica. Now, overall, she describes herself as a peddler of information and a co-host on Nationwide's This Morning on weekdays. Her thought-provoking think bits that she gives during What's on My Mind segment are just some of the riveting interviews that she is a part of. Ladies, gentlemen, children, and those on Zoom land, give some round of applause for this amazing keynote speaker, Miss Danielle Archer.
After all of that, I'm not too sure if I'm going to live up to expectations. The hardest thing to do in life is to have great expectations, eh? But good afternoon, everyone. I am humbled by your invitation. I think I will need a few moments after this to find out who we were all talking about. But I decided to chuck the speech that I wrote and to speak to you from my heart this afternoon. Only because somebody quoted me by saying that my purpose is to make the rock a better place. But what got to me this afternoon, and I don't know if all of you have the same kind of experience, when my national anthem plays, it doesn't matter where I am. It doesn't matter what I am doing. I could be at home ironing, my top, literally stop. It's like my peel sister Stephanie somewhere over there going. So, you know, you stop. But there are moments when you listen to that anthem, when you see that pledge, and if you don't get goosebumps, you're not listening to the words of the anthem or the pledge. that's going to be the context from which I'm going to address you from. When Sherlock and Lightborn and the others who sought to craft our anthem and our lyrics, it was no fluke of chance. There were 100 entrants. Parliament decided at least 2.5 weeks before independence, only 2.5 weeks, which of the entrance lyrics they were going to use. The plan was to have a competition for the score after, but we never did have enough time. Typical Jamaican style. We wait till the last minute. But 2.5 weeks before the announcement of independence at this great new place that was now being built, the beginning of a generation that would not only set the course for independence politically, but the beginning of a generation that would create social and economic growth for little people who are Black. That's the premise I want to take you on this afternoon. Because there's no point in having a discussion about our future if we don't see where we're coming from and if we don't appreciate what we're going through. So journey with me, and I am a student of history. But above all things, I am a lover of Jamaica. So when you talk to me about the vision, the cultural perspective, I have to ask you, what do you mean about culture? Is culture just the athletes them are run? The music where we are dance to? Is culture the food that we eat? What is culture? Our future of culture is going to be determined. Our vision of culture is going to be shaped by what you think culture is. So for me, when I think of Jamaica, it's not just the flag. It's not just the colors of the flag. My love for Jamaica is generated from the words that created this country. So culture for me means I'm a lover of all things Jamaican. Not just the best that is Jamaican, by the way, but I am a lover of all things Jamaican. Because even when we go through the tribulations and the trials, it is that which makes me a proud Jamaican. If we didn't have the crime and the violence, if we didn't have the poverty, much of us would never learn how to turn with hand and make fashion. Had I not gone through what I went through, so you're saying, oh, I am your ideal girlfriend? That's humbling to me. But if I put myself in the context of Jamaica, what I had to go through to be here, to have you as a young woman look up to me, there are tears in my eyes because I never thought I would hear somebody say that. Imagine the island of Jamaica having gone through what it went through, and there are millions around the world that look up to us. So when we talk about the vision of Jamaica, when we talk about the culture of Jamaica, when we talk about the future of Jamaica, what it really means, how do we see ourselves as Jamaicans? What defines us and what will we hold on to? I am an X generation. So yeah, most of you here, except those who preceded me, you know, most of you are millennials. X generation, 1960 to 1980, that period of time. So you know how old me be. But I operate in that nice paradigm where I saw no internet, then I saw internet. You have grown up where there is only, not even H, you notice the Jamaican coming out in me, only internet. You don't know anything else. When I went to school and we were doing projects, I have to take a bus, go down at the library. If the library don't have it, take a deep sigh and say, good afternoon, miss. So where could I go and get a copy of the book? Well, you know, you could go to the ministry. Where is the ministry, ma'am? Hero Circle. Hero Circle, where is that? And your journey on the bus with your group members going down to Hero Circle to try and get one day copy of a pamphlet. No, it's cut a finger, you get it. But it shows me that there's some things that we have taken and there's some things that we have forgotten. So my second thing to you, not just loving all things Jamaican and appreciating our struggles and what defines us, is I think the challenge for our future our cultural vision or perspective requires us to hold on to our traditions. We have lost a few of them. It's the loss of those few traditions that makes civics even more important. When you go foreign, people now walk around and say, good morning, ma'am, and good morning, sir. Everybody go about their business. When you come from country, you can tell a country person when they come at town, good morning, ma'am, morning, sir, good morning, ma'am, good morning. Or when they don't answer you, good morning. Country come to town. Town people know, morning, if them answer you. But you have the level of interaction, the little level of respect. You see, the anthem actually says, and that was what triggered my response this afternoon. Teach us true respect for all. The anthem is actually a pledge. It's actually not just a pledge, it's a prayer. And if you look at the anthem as a prayer and a pledge to yourself and to your country, you will get the answer of why it's important to hold on to our traditions. You with me? So I think if you're concerned, if you really want to be part of a dynamic cultural dimension, you must be able to find a way to include everybody so that everybody understands the importance of holding on to our traditions. It's not a bad thing to be cable influenced. To my mind, that's what changed everything in Jamaica for me. Because when I grew up, it was only evening time I could have watch. Evening time with Tony Patel and Erica Allen. And you rush home because you wanted to see what Jamaicanness was coming on. Tell me, I buy a ticket to Carib. What Jamaican program do we have on our television stations during time that children can watch that tells them all about cultural exchanges in Jamaica? Whether it's the Ring Ding, Louise Bennett, whether it's our poetry, what program do we have that teaches our children what it means to sit around a mortar and crush out the liquor chocolate? It's not the crushing out of the chocolate that was important for me and my grandmother, at the little conversation we used to have. The exchange of information, which we can't really get over the internet, I say that to say there's some traditions that even in the digital space, we have to find a way to hold on to. And if we don't hold on to it, we're going to have to accept that the vision of our culture for the future will not be what we know it as today. So the challenge to you would be, if you are a true lover of Jamaica and a true lover of Jamaica for all that it brings, every part of it that it brings, because there's no part, and I will say this, there's no part that we don't want to hold on to. We want to kick the violence to the side, but the problem with the violence is that we give away the civics and we give away the respect for all, so we create a problem. If we are true lovers of Jamaica, we become that which the anthem and the pledge envisioned us to be, our brother's keeper. You see where I'm going? So it requires for us to make that change to say that which gave rise to who we are, that which has made us Jamaicans, we have to bring that back. Because where we are is not where I want us to go. And that requires an acceptance of my third point, which is what I want you to focus on as well. The very important notion that civics, not just character education, civics, that we don't sell that for nothing. We don't make a profit of it. It's not like the colors of the flag. It's not like the Jamaican shirt. We cannot sell our soul. It is our soul that defines us as Jamaicans. And as the world continues to become influenced by globalization and regionalism, we no longer want to become like the common people of the world, which is, where we're heading when we take on everything and forget who we are. I think civics has to be taught in such a way that it reignites the passion for Jamaica. It reignites a passion that when you see a man drop a piece of bubblegum paper, you say, hey, brother, how you do? The man no cuss you. He take you up and say, sorry, just drop out of my pocket. I never dash me. We want to have that kind of love. So where I want us to go, if all I've said is And all I've said is not enough to inspire you to contemplate accepting that cultural perspective has to begin with your love for Jamaica and how you perceive the culture of Jamaica. I just beg you one thing. Just accept, just for a moment, because it is the truth. I peddle information, so I can guarantee you this one. There is nowhere across this globe, not even if you could hold a seat on the Blue Origins and go to space, will you ever find an island like ours. There will never be a place that has the kind of melting pot of a culture and a people that we are. And through thick and thin, in spite of the violence, we must learn, and that's the point I want to leave with you. How do we use our culture to drive social change for our betterment? Don't kick it through the door. See what is there and take it and convert it to our use. Let us use our cultural expressions, the very things that hold us together, as a means of social change, because culture can facilitate that. And if we do that, we are walking hand in step with a goal that says culture is a sustainable development goal. So on my mind this afternoon, how do we become lovers of Jamaica? Because the future, a cultural perspective of Jamaica requires that we become true lovers of Jamaica. That's my perspective and vision for Jamaica and the role of the JCDC as it contemplates its conference this afternoon. Vision of our future, a cultural perspective. I thank you.
So we just want to thank Ms. Archer for such provoking address. It was riveting, it was touching, it was stirring emotions, and I really, really enjoyed the presentation. And the presentation is taking me out of my comfort zone, especially when she mentioned the fact that there's no program on television that actually teaches the younger generation aspects of our culture. There's not one. And that is something as media personalities, Tamoy, Kemoy, all the queens we can look into to generate something in the future. So after this presentation, we will be having a question and answer segment. And I hope that you have your questions, because one of the questions that I prepared before hearing her presentation was about globalization. So I will not go into it right now. I will save it for the question and answer segment. At this time, we want to hear from our culture clubs across the region to hear their vision. They have submitted some lovely videos, and I hope that everyone is willing and ready to listen to those videos. I'm not sure how we will be seeing. We will listen. All right, then. So I was going to say feast your eyes, but just listen keenly.
As the old people would say, a way to a man's heart is through his stomach. And what better way to show how much we care for each other than with some good Jamaican food. As a student of St. Thomas Technical High School Culture Club, I vision a culture where youth gain and appreciate our Jamaican, such as Thai leaf, potato pudding, and our authentic Jamaican dishes. I also envision where our Jamaican authentic food can be a part of our school menu to accommodate our beloved fried chicken, a Fui culture, a Fui future, make we preserve.
I believe that traditional dances should be included in Jamaica's school curriculum. It has been proven to stimulate conscious understanding of the language of movement, to develop an artistic knowledge of different skills and movements. Besides, who wouldn't want to learn of the notorious Kumina dance, which originated from our ancestors in West Africa, or even the notorious Brookings dance, which started in the parish of Portland.
Preserving our culture is preserving our way of life. This is your roving reporter from the streets of Spanish Town with the question, what is your vision of our future from a cultural perspective?
Look at the beautiful things that we usually have at them be. Them not fi cut it out. We can have little bit of people.
Culture is the way of life of a group of people. Our history, our music, our dance can carry on virtually.
Who going carry on this a legacy? Everybody afraid. But me have to go try to teach a few this.
As president of the CC Club, socialization has now transcended to the virtual realm.
Believe that we could have more televised and radio programs and ads to preserve our culture.
Culture.
Agriculture.
All right, so those are some presentations from St. Thomas Technical High School, Vauxhall High, and Macaulay Primary. And I'm sure that if we weren't sure about our future and some of the ideas that we can use to preserve our culture, we can get those stemming from the presentations. So at this time, we will be transitioning into a Q&A with Miss Archer, and I hope you have your questions ready. So the queens will be joining me on stage as we transition into that section. All right, so to start off the Q&A section, I have a question. So the first question is, with all the influences stemming from globalization, how can we preserve our culture?
I think at the end of the day, we all strive to be different and to be unique, regardless of the impact of globalization, the role of regionalism. We want to stand out. There's always going to be that desire to stand out. And I think because we want to stand out, we're going to have to stand out. Nobody wants to be the same. We don't all want to look like the queens. Yeah? If all of we did look like the queens, then life would be boring. I think we have an innate, natural human drive to be different, and we will always survive. What is going to be the test, however, is what we seek to hold on more to and what we seek to leave behind. That can only be impacted by how the Culture Club educates people to understand what is beneficial, what they should hold on to, what is important, and then show people how they can interact it, how they can involve it, how they can include it in their everyday life. So like the presentation that says, we're going to have Jamaican things on the menu. Anybody ever eat dukunu and buy it from a school menu? Or a jackass corn? Jackass corn has become common now. You go to the pharmacy, the store, you see a jackass corn. But country people that tell us, I know you read jackass corn, quite not tough enough. Yeah. But you see the point I'm making though, that there are some things that we're going to have to make a collective decision about promoting. And I think that's how we're going to be able to preserve our culture.
Awesome. So I have one last question. So with the immersion of pop culture, you know, some of the traditional culture is somewhat lost. I'm trying to figure out if there is a way to incorporate the trending things, but at the same time, carry on our traditional traditions.
There's always going to be room for our traditional experiences. Anybody ever heard about DJ Herrick? I know, I feel nice. DJ Herrick, you know, hip hop. Yeah. He is actually thought of, he's Jamaican, and he's thought of as being the god of hip hop. He's the one who introduced reggae. Yeah? Somebody look like somebody just remember.
Wait, you're talking about the big yellow person?
So
oh, because you know hip hop Harry, right?
Right. But it's DJ Herrick, and what I'm trying to show you is that our culture will always carry through. So a few weeks ago, they had what you call the opening of in London on Broadway, Bob Marley. Who would have ever thought that you're going to have a presentation on Broadway about Bob Marley? We have content. Our culture is so attractive that you will always find what it requires us to do is to be innovative about it. It's innovation and creativity. We don't lack that. We don't lack it. I think what we lack though is the interest. And if the culture clubs, you see how I question y'all? If the culture clubs become more active, if you become more willing to adopt and adapt to your role as ambassadors of culture, then people will be more willing to listen and to give an ear to what you're saying. If we don't have the option, I'm going to turn my radio on and listen to the foreign music. If I don't have the option, I'm going to buy the foreign food. But you have to create an appetite for being Jamaican. And unless we do that, you're going to have the problem that they're thinking about having.
I totally agree. So over to Tamoy and Kemoy.
Okay, so I'll go first. What do you think is our greatest asset as a nation? And how do you believe we can capitalize on it to ensure sustainable development?
No, I'm living my dream. You know, the question for the beauty queens, you know, what do you think of the asset? The people. Everybody says that, but it is true. There is a different kind of energy from a Jamaican. If we are able, let me put it another way. When you are prepared for guests as Jamaicans, we put out everything, don't? When we know that the auntie coming from foreign, we clean up the yard, everything do, because we are showcase ourselves. When we go foreign, we dress for best and we carry the best of ourselves to foreign. But when we are amongst each other, we know business. That is what we need to work on. Because the culture, the people, that's our greatest asset. Without the people, there is no point. But I think we need to work on this interaction amongst us, to treat everybody like them a guest. Give them the best of ourselves. And I think when we do that, all of the things that we want to fix, we would start fixing them. Because then we get to that point where, I tell you this, the prayer is powerful, where we put people above ourselves. We put the country above ourselves. So I answer your question. I hope I get
Yes, you did.
applause from the, the scorers. I feel nice, yeah.
Yes, and it leads to another question. In recent times, I've seen where a lot of our Jamaican culture is being showcased on the international scale. We're not getting paid for it, right? You see the Japanese dancing, our reggae music, to our reggae music. You see them interacting with our culture the way we should be interacting with it, and they're being compensated for it. What do you think we can do as a people to ensure that our people is being compensated more for their...
Own it.
Yes.
Own it.
I agree.
The reason the Japanese can own it is because we turn up with face on dancehall. When all of us were turning up our noses because we're uptown and we're talking about the piece of Batty Rider and the attire and the behavior down at dancehall, the Japanese came and said, "What? We can't make some money around here. Come to Japan." They identify what we don't want and make it a profit. That's business. Looking for what you discard that other people are attracted to. We don't own our culture. The only part of our culture we own is when it comes to celebrating the culture. So until we own it, and when we own it, we educate ourselves how to keep it. That's my answer to your question.
Thank you so much. I remember doing history in school because my grandma would talk about the culture. It was not connecting to me because I never learned a lot about it, which is why I entered the competition. I never learned a lot about my culture. I did Caribbean history. I thought that, Jamaican history would have been a part of it. And what I learned about was everything else but the Caribbean, really. The invasion of the Caribbean, and it made us seem as though Black people started out as slaves. We were not born slaves, but they made it seem as though we started out as slaves because the history books are written by the victors, not by the victims. And so having to do my SB at the time, I wanted to know more about my culture. And my teacher told me that my loophole would have been the Maroons. So I could use the Maroons as my loophole to Caribbean history. Jamaica is a part of the Caribbean. And I never understood why it is that in our schools, we learn more about what the US did to Jamaica, what the British did to Jamaica, but not really about what Jamaica is doing for themselves. And so my question is, how do you think we can incorporate civics in our schools?
That's one question, but you also highlighted, to my mind, the role and impact of regionalism. You mentioned the Caribbean. More often than not, when we speak of Jamaica, nobody ever thinks that we are in the Caribbean. We operate like we just one island and we one another big sea here. Yeah. I think part of incorporating civics into our schools requires us to accept that we are part of the Caribbean, and we teach each other and learn more about our role in the Caribbean. You are correct. In the past, prior to the internet, most of our history was dictated to us by the victors. But because we start to travel, information start to exchange, we start to dig more. So for instance, the national anthem, the original score was given to the British Library. Nobody knows if it's ever been returned. But we start to read now, and we can start to ask for things like that. And we can start to teach ourselves more of that history. I don't think we should be locked in though on teaching just about Jamaica. I think we need to teach Jamaica and the Caribbean, because our power lies not just in recognizing that we're Jamaicans. Our strength comes because we are part of the Caribbean.
Thank you so much.
Well, when Ashage and Kemwa eats up all the questions, what I'm left with. But I think what I wanted to get to, especially for being an attorney and perhaps as a budding attorney myself, Kemwa spoke a little bit about other persons getting compensation for what is inherently ours. So perhaps more on the intellectual property side, or what kind of legal mechanisms and framework can at least the government at least put in place so that
Japan and other foreign entities don't exploit anything, and what can Jamaicans do to ensure that they honestly know the value of their intellectual property so it isn't taken away and others receive
You know,
recourse for it?
let's stop right there. Let's not ask what the government can do.
Okay.
Let's own it. It's in owning it that we become interested in how we can make it profitable. So when I start in a business, so I'm trying to figure out if I have any skill to sell. As an attorney, attorneys peddle information. That's what we sell. Information times time. How much time we spend on it, how much information I can give you. That is how I quantify my skill. When we get to that point where we accept our culture and we're trying to monetize it, then we can do so. There are international conventions which define culture, so we don't have to get into that and define what can be owned and what can't be owned. There's the role of intellectual property law, which also governs that. So that's why I said to you, I don't think it's for the government. I think the furthest the government can go through this entity is to educate people that they can own their culture. Then what you do now, we don't want to reinvent the wheel, you know. We go down a JAMPRO and we said to JAMPRO, this is what we'd like to know. How can you, JAMPRO, which is a government entity, help us to do this? Can we? The wheels are already there. We just now drive the car. So it's nothing for the government to do. The information is there. We don't want the information. I'm one of those people, I'm going to tell you straight, I don't believe in this thing that people want to know and don't know. If we want to find out how to reach a mandible, we find out how to reach a mandible. So if we want to know how to own the culture, if there's something that we want to do, we will find out how to do it. We just need to create the appetite for it. We need to own it and create the appetite for it. And that's what you can do as an attorney. Educate, but educate by perhaps deciding that you want to specialize in that particular area. So you develop a skill set by being able to advise persons that these are the things that they can do. And over time, you even develop your own clientele to have your own mission that you sell that which is Jamaica.
I think Ms. Archer also as an educator, and I know we kind of touched on it a little bit, but let's say you had the opportunity to help create a sort of civics handbook or a curriculum.
Oh,
what
Lord,
should we
that'd be a dream.
What should we be putting in it so that our young students here can learn and it can be preserved throughout?
You ask them.
You ask them.
You ask them what they know. I say it's a dream because I am true and true a Jamaican. I've accepted that I can't go nowhere else. That the banana boat I go sink, and I go up on the banana boat, I put the little foot and I try swim to try help. So that's my mission. But I can't use myself, who is an X-generation individual, to craft a handbook for somebody who's a millennial. I can tell you what I value, but I need to speak to my millennials and my children to ask them, what do you know? And if I am to get you to fall in love with Jamaica, that's the aim of the book. The aim of the book is to get children, adults, to fall in love with Jamaica again. That's the mission. So I can't tell you exactly chapter and verse, but I think those who are good at marketing, they need to be able to ask the kids, what do you know? And as adults, we can assess what they should know, but then we need to look at everything and be able to get everybody to fall in love with Jamaica again. That's the purpose of the Civics Handbook.
Thank you, Ms. Archer. I don't have any other questions.
All right, so thank you, Culture Club members, and I'm sure we could go on and on and on with this riveting discussion, but you know, time is limited and we don't want to overextend ourselves. So let us agree to take a little this year and a little next year as we build out this vision of our future. At this time, we have a small token of appreciation of our guest speaker, and to do the honors, we're going to invite Culture Club patron, Miss St. Catherine, Festival Queen, Miss Kamoy Perry, to make the presentation.
Okay. Ms. Archer, come here. I thought I said I didn't need anything. But we're going to give you something.
I don't like them kind of limelight here.
Today we sat here and we discussed why it is that it is important that we look to the eye in Jamaica and why it is that we celebrate it. Not just because we are collecting all these medals at the Olympics, or because we have these great parts of our culture. I heard when you said that we should hold on to our tribulations because it makes us part of who we are. And I just want to say thank you, because sometimes we forget that because the bad things happen, don't mean that it's all bad, some good come from it. And I just want to say thank you for ensuring that we remember that civic pride is always the order of the day, and we'll always go for it and share that with everyone we come across. Thank you so much.
Did you say all of that?
Go to the middle. Go to the middle. Go to the middle.
All right, so thank you once again, Miss Archer. You did a wonderful job this afternoon. So we will be closing the first segment of today's conference, and we will be listening to the audio of this year's 2021 festival song. And the other section, the business section, will be led by the Razzle Queen, Miss Tamoy Campbell. So we'll have the song at this time, and I'm closing out right now.
Hot sun a shine, so you know all the thing go. Go in a me backyard and big two mango. Enjoy the sweetness and plan when me can go. It's a new day and I'm thankful for another chance to win. I am a fighter, a survivor, and I'm never giving in. Never gonna stop, never gonna fail. Never been afraid to try again. Never gonna stop, never gonna fail. Never been afraid to try again. From me little and I grow hard work, and when me know I'm never ever have a next choice. I feel make hay with the sun face, fears nothing run. I feel sacrifice and earn sacrifice. Never have everything, no it never easy. But me live good, wouldn't change it, believe me. Mommy make sure, oh me grow, respect me for sure. Take a little bit, make everything nice. This is a new day, and I'm thankful for another chance to win. I am a fighter, a survivor, and I'm never giving in. Never gonna stop, never gonna fail. Never been afraid to try again. Never gonna stop, never gonna fail. Never been afraid to try again. Listen, me not to tell you when me born, me not to tell you when me live. From me stepping out the room, I just the energy me give. Who sad happy, who down live. Life's not perfect, but we are bring the positive. Rise on the money, I will rise when we broke. Fight what you do if we sight little luck. You know the partner of it choke, cause the progress is a must. But here the dirty tough for us, there's just no giving up. This is a new day, and I'm thankful for another chance to win. I am a fighter, a survivor, and I'm never giving in. Never gonna stop.
And there you have it. That was our festival. That was our festival song, and I think that was spacious. And now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, can we just at least have a round of applause for an amazing job that Asha Gay did in leading us through our first segment? Can I have some claps, please? Awesome. So my name is Tamoy Campbell, and I'm Miss Kingston and St. Andrew, and I'll be moderating this section, and it's the business section. A little more serious, not as vibesy as Asha, and perhaps not as vibesy as Kemoy's section. And just a reminder, I'm going to tell you a little bit about what JCDC does. It's an agency of the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment, and Sport. And I want to remind you all that this is a JCDC Eastern Region event. So that's Miss St. Thomas over there, that's Kingston and St. Andrew right here, and that's Miss St. Catherine. And all of us come together to ensure that we represent the Eastern parishes really well. Now to the business at hand. Now, this year, the Eastern region would like to report that we firmly established the Culture Club Parish Associations and elected chairs for each of the parishes. Today, we're going to have a little small investiture ceremony to install these chairs. And to do the honors, I'll invite to the stage Regional Manager, Mr. Stephen Reed, who will conduct the business of the investiture ceremony. Boys and girls, and those on Zoom, please make a round of applause for Mr. Reed.
Thank you, Madam Campbell. We're doing well so far, right? And of course, we're going to be doing even better as we continue. The Culture Club programs, or the Culture Club program, has, as a part of the structure, Parish Association, that is the grouping of schools and community culture clubs. For years, we struggled to get it going. And I, as a part of my mandate, decided that this year, we're not going to finish this year without getting it structured and up and running and so forth, right? So I called my parish managers and cultural organizers and said, we have to get them elected and in place so that they can also mobilize other culture clubs or other schools to get their culture clubs going and to have it running so that we can reach other persons, so that we can be doing some of the stuff that our guest speaker, Ms. Archer, has encouraged us to do and build out Jamaica. The future, very critical. You are going to be aged, so you can see it, right? So we want you, of course, to be taking over and leading as cultural advocates and ambassadors and cultural practitioners and cultural, advocates, practitioners, ambassadors, I missed one. Observers, right? And so we want to build it out. So without further ado, I'm going to be inviting the parish chair to receive their instrument of office. And of course, they will be meeting with me afterwards for us to build out. We know the patrons of the culture clubs are the parish festival queens, and amalgamation of these programs will work as we build out partnership, as the guest speaker also stated. So let me go to the far east, and wow. Sure. Tanisha, you recognize too. All right, please, Miss, and we invite Miss St. Thomas to come and do the in the middle. So that's Miss Tanisha Gordon, and she is the chair of the St. Thomas Parish Culture Club Parish Association. There's about 15 active culture clubs in St. Thomas, and we want to build it out to about 30 by the end of the year. Not this academic, not this calendar year, right? We're working with our JCDC year, which finishes in April, May, March. Woo, what am I doing? Of course, we have Kingston and St. Andrew, and we have Miss Myrna Lee Holmes, and we invite, of course, Miss Kingston and St. Andrew. You can tell that I'm a morning person, right? Afternoon, work well with me. There's that too. And of course, we have from St. Catherine, Miss Tasmanica Beckford. All right. While it is not on your agenda, we earlier this year we had the Miss Lou, Pretty Little Miss Lou competition amongst culture clubs and so forth, and we didn't get to make the presentation to the winner. And at this time, I want to invite Pretty Miss Little Lou. Little Miss Pretty Lou. And the funniest thing, me give it the name, but pretty Little Miss Lou. It's a tongue twister, please. And she emerged the winner as we celebrated Miss Lou competition. Ariana Johnson. Take Ariana Johnson to it was the first staging, by the way, and next year we expect it to be bigger. She is the winner of 15, should I tell her now? Next thing she's from St. Thomas. I'm just telling you she's from St. Thomas. So if you plan to take her $15,000, she's from St. Thomas. I'm not saying anything else. And I'm going to do the honor, ask Miss Archer to just do the presentation. Yes. Mumi, you dress her up nice, man. Next year, it's going to be a bigger competition, of course. We want to see all the little pretty Miss Lou next year as we celebrate Miss Lou. Thank you so much. Moderator.
Thank you so much, Mr. Reed. Thank you so much. Can you give Mr. Reed a little clap, please? He did a great job. And I want to be a pretty little mini Miss Lou. Perhaps can't be that mini anymore, but it's all right. It's all right. I'll leave that for Ariana, and congrats again, Ariana. I'm also going to take the opportunity to again invite our Culture Club Parish Association chair. So just come back on stage so we can see you one more time. That is Miss Tanisha Gordon representing St. Thomas, Miss Myrna Lee Holmes from Kingston and St. Andrew, and Miss Tasmonica Beckford from St. Catherine. Ladies, just come up here one more time so we can see you, and please give them a round of applause. As their photographs are being taken, I just want to ask a quick question, and I hope maybe Mr. Wilmer's prep. I hope Miss Dunoon, Miss St. Catherine over there can answer my question. Which part, when I think of Paul Bogle, which parish am I talking about? And I want to see you raise your hand quick. And Miss St. Thomas is gonna tell me if you're all right. I see your hand. St. Thomas, it's because I said it a while ago. It's just because I said it a while ago. I'll ask another question. Okay. Just give me one historical site or monument in Mike Parish, Kingston, and St. Andrew. That's very broad, that's very wide. You can list anywhere. I see a hand. Yes, my pretty friend. Oh, come again. You're nice like rice. Give her a round of applause. Yes, Devon Hose. All right. So thank you so much. So our chairs are doing a little presentation.
A petition from the JCDC Eastern Region Culture Clubs to the Governor General through the Minister of Culture, Gender, Entertainment, and Sports to have the Monday within National Heritage Week proclaimed National Bandana Day. Our heritage is one of the most crucial parts of our identity as Jamaicans. Heritage celebrations help to preserve this identity and our culture, which sets us apart from all other countries.
National Heritage Week is observed annually during the week leading up to the third Monday in October, National Heroes Day. Throughout the duration of Heritage Week, a series of activities are held island-wide that encourages solidarity and rekindles Jamaica's pride amongst the population.
One of the many ways in which the rich cultural heritage of the island of Jamaica is expressed is through the traditional styles of our national dress. The colorful apparel known to us as bandana is the result of a combined influence of Indian and the African culture that have left their mark on the island over the past several centuries. Over many years, we have come to associate madras cloth or bandana, as it is more commonly known, with Jamaican festival celebrations.
The original bandana, the material said to have been imported from India in the 18th century, was made from silk, but was later copied by British manufacturers and put into mass production using cotton instead of silk. The characteristic plaid cotton material, which principal colors of red, yellow, and white, known as native woman plaid and Madras handkerchief, has traditionally been used to make the headdress or the head tie and aprons of Jamaican peasant women.
African women in Jamaica have always worn head wraps in the style of their West African homeland. But the wearing of the non-familiar madras cloth seems to have become common among women of both African and Indian origin in the years following emancipation.
Historically, it was closely identified as the occupational badge of igglers or market women, although seldom these days, as the use of bandana plaid is largely ceremonial and symbolic.
Jamaican revivalists often use bandana plaid to make their turbans, and it is incorporated in a Jamaican costume when such is required. Example, for participants in the Miss Jamaica Festival Queen, Miss World, Miss Universe, or other pageants. But perhaps the most visible use of bandana is in the costuming of singers, storytellers, and other performers of Jamaican folk. It is also increasingly worn on Jamaican Heritage Days and other special cultural days or occasions.
It is for these reasons that we petition His Excellency the Most Honorable Sir Patrick Linton Allen, member of the Order of Nation, Knight, Grand Cross of the Most Distinguished Order of St. Michael and St. George, member of the Order of Distinction in the rank of Commander, Knight of the Grace of the Most Venerable Order of Hospital of St. John of Jerusalem, Governor General of Jamaica, through our Minister of Culture, Gender, Entertainment, and Sports, the Honorable Olivia Babsy Grange, MP, CD, to have Monday within National Heritage Week proclaimed National Bandana Day, whereby the wearing of fashion made from this historic material will be worn in schools and workplaces to celebrate our heritage.
Thank you so much, Madam Chairs. I like that. I think we could all see us wearing bandana with our, like Ariana right there. We can have our clothes and our hats and everything. And I think that's really beautiful. So thank you again, Madam Chairs. A National Bandana Day, I believe, is what we can all stand behind and all support. And it would really be amazing to see during Heritage Week a vision of our future. I trust we will get the required number of signatures to have this petition proclaimed. Now, as you know, all good things must come to an end, so we're winding down with the business section. We will close out this section with a video of an old-time, all-favorite Jamaican festival song done by one of Jamaica's beloved sons, Stanley Beckford, I Am Dreaming of a New Jamaica. And after which, we'll go into the cultural segment and some performers from the JCDC Performing Arts 2021 Festival. And that session will be led by another vibesy queen, Miss St. Cathy, Queen Miss Kemoy Perry. So now let's turn our attention and listen to Stanley Beckford, I'm Dreaming of a New Jamaica. Thank you.
Okay, so good afternoon again, everyone. I am Kemoy Perry, your Miss St. Catherine Festival Queen. Now it's the vibes section now. I don't want any dead person in here because everybody is Jamaican and them full of vibes in here. I hope my lipstick don't run. But guys, I hope you guys are ready to have some fun. Everybody ready to have some fun? Yeah. I'm not here, no. I'm not here, no. Ready to have some fun? If you're ready to have some fun, tell me yes. All right, all right. I want you guys to big up Tamoy Campbell for that session a while ago and big up Stanley for that outstanding song, you know? I would just like to say right now we're going to go into the cultural segment. So the cultural segment, now we're going to be showcasing a little tips of our culture. You know, the little music, the speech and so. And of course, we know that we're Jamaican, so we have to have a little dance tonight, all right? So the JCDC, of course, is an agency of the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sports and has as its mandate to unearth, develop, promote and showcase the wonderful cultural talents of the Jamaican people. So today we will only give you, as I said a while ago, a little tips. You know, we can't get everything because we don't have all of that time. Remember, Jamaica is about to turn 60. So we don't have 60 years right here. So what we're about to give you right now, we're going to start off with Akeef Nugent, the 2021 JCDC National Award winner for the best class 3 dub poetry. Please make him welcome.
Lodaman by T Course. 1 and 3, 2 and drive fast, move at me depan. Nah itch, nah stitch, man na husu Barbican, half tree, town ligani, even Clarendon. Yo, miss, ya come, I'm here the Lodaman. Lodaman them call me, cause me get them the load. Several back, I saw the thing goes, woman. Yeah, come truck, don't waste my time. No people want go home, so move out of the line. Auntie, me see her first. Come no go in on no bus. Ride crew back at the front. Come no bother cuss. Driver, pay me no brother. Yes, another $100. Crossroad we any park a front seat. You want to sit down, me soon ready. One more, no bother cause nor phone. Passenger, me can't move with just one in at the front. Just sit down and wait. More people soon come. Jarastapa, right? Me tired sometime with this. Passenger no have no patience. Think a JUTC this. Put them in your car, turn your back. Them gone, boy, you nah load me now. John was star. Wait! School youth, put them in my youth. Me load the car still. Left for a bus stop a school. Dad, I say to just switch that gone long time.
Listen to me, you see him short and full of talent. Imagine when him grow older. Big up yourself, big man. All right, so right now I wanted to keep those applause coming. So we're going to move right now into Moya Dale's performance. So she's the 2021 JCDC National Award winner, Best Class 5 Praise Dance and Best Overall Choreographer. Come on, sweetie. Hello, I want to know if I can find our music, you know, can you see my girl ready? You're finding your music, Moya. I'm sure you sent it. Don't worry, sweetie. It frozen, don't worry. See, she in a frozen position too. We can get some music in the meantime to go and vibe before Maya gets her performance. They're trying to start out that, okay. Maya, just rest your foot, yeah? Rest your foot, rest your foot. Rest your foot. They're waiting music. We can't vibe to nothing right now, so just think about the Jamaican culture in the meantime and build some music in your head. Because we don't have no music right now. Is me alone walk around the place at daytime with song in my head? I was never much of a singer, so you know, if you guys good with the music, let's just build our vibes and sing to anything you know want to sing to. Pardon? Why can't sing too? I lie, yeah, tell. See them ratty out already. Ready now? We're ready now. We're ready now.
This isn't easy for me to admit. I got a fire inside and some words I know I can't keep in. I see faith turning into a show of Sundays and sermons and words getting caught in the flow. Oh, but we got real pain and real fears thirsting for the drying of our real tears. It's not satisfying anymore. Ain't it true that the veil was torn? I don't need no strangers to be washed in his blood.
Just wow. Then you see why she get the best. As a Pentecostal, I don't know, but in a Pentecostal church, vibes is something that we always have in the church. You always have to move up and down. You always a worship. In a Pentecostal church, I don't even know why they have benches in there. You hardly sit in there. And I grew up in a Pentecostal church, and having dance as a part of our worship, everybody just always a ball. Some of them, if you realize my eye full of tears right now, but me not go ball because una not see me ball. But just thank you, Maya. That was amazing. All right, so I want you guys to give a round of applause. We're going to invite Jesus in here again with Tevin Campbell, the 2021 JCDC National Award winner, Best Class for Vocal Gospel. So that's solo. So come here, Tevin. Is Scott? Oh, sorry about that, sweetheart. Show them why you have those pipes. Let's go.
I've had some good days. I've had some hills to climb. I've had some weary days and sleepless nights. Oh, but when I look around and start to think things over, well, all of my good days outweighed my bad days. I won't complain. Sometimes my clouds hang low. I can hardly see the road. But I've asked this question, why? Why so much pain? But there's something best for me, even though my weary eyes cannot see. But I'll just say thank you, Lord. I just say thank you, Lord. I won't complain. The Lord's been good to me, so very good to me. More than this world to me. You've been so good. You dried all my tears away, turned my midnights into day. But I'll just say thank you, Lord. I'll just say thank you, Lord. I'll just say thank you, Lord. I won't complain. Stibidi ba ba da ba 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 da ba da ba ba da ba da ba 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 da ba da ba ba da ba ba. You've been so good, ba 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 da ba ba ba.
Hey, well done, Tevin, well done. If the Lord has been good to you, can I hear an amen? All right, put your hands together again for all those wonderful performances that we just experienced. And so we have come to an end of this session, the JCDC Eastern Region Culture Club Consultation 2021. We want to thank all who took part in these sessions, our guest speaker, Ms. Danielle Archer, our officials for the cultural agencies, Mrs. Marjorie Curtin, Miss Dr. Mariah Smith, Mr. Marlon Williams, our culture club patrons and festival queens, our culture club parish association chairs, culture club executives and members, our uniform group, our performance, the technical crew, the staff on the JCDC Eastern Region, and reflecting on the words of Miss Danielle Archer, don't sell with civic for nothing. I say thank you and walk good.
And of course, you know that the JCDC don't have an event without giving you a little Mumbai, Bambai, Mumbai. I get it first right. I get it first the right time around. So we have some refreshment for you. Mrs. Sutherland will marshal you around to the area and so forth. I guess my photographer wants to take some pictures with the lovely queens and of course the guest speaker and so forth. Thank you so much for coming. I trust that it was a good event for you all.